Welcome to What's Up in Jeju, where I visit places around the island and talk about what's happening with hashtag Daily K's host, Peter Bent.
Where are we going today?
So today we are headed over to another museum for all of my fellow museum lovers and history lovers. I'll one up the last one.
Wow.
We went to the Jeju National Museum a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So today I'm taking you to the Haenyeo Museum.
Wow, the famous female divers.
Yes. I got to interview the director, the big dog?
Oh,
the top dog.
The bigwig.
The bigwig of the museum. The director, Bu Yong-sik is his name. But first off, before we get into the museum, let me just describe to you what a Haenyeo is.
It is something that we're very proud of in Korea, but in particular, Jeju Island, right?
Yeah. So at the very basic level, a Haenyeo is a woman sea diver who is unique to Jeju. But they're really so much more than that. Their cultural significance is really world-renowned. And they're celebrated as one of Jeju's most treasured cultural heritage, even being designated as a UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage back in 2016.
Intangible, so you can't touch them.
You can't touch it. No, you cannot. Unfortunately, unless you want to go up to a Haenyeo and be
Poke
like,
them.
"Can I touch you?"
It's a little odd.
You may get yelled at, but you could try. Their work is called muljil, and that word muljil is specific to the work a Haenyeo does. And it's basically sea harvesting. And they harvest shellfish and other kinds of seafood by free diving.
Wow.
They work up to 7 hours a day. So like you mentioned before, Peter, they do go with a single breath with no oxygen tanks. But the Haenyeo, their significance is just, they're just so important in Jeju's history. And it's said that the Haenyeo are who made Jeju what it is today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were the backbone of Jeju's economy for hundreds and hundreds of years.
I guess still, harvesting that seafood and selling that on the shore, that contributes to the economy.
Right. And in the past, it was the main economy, the main source of income for people on Jeju. It was either that or farming.
Yeah, that is a really interesting way to look at it. They made Jeju what it is today.
Yep.
And so there's a museum dedicated to them.
Yeah, so it's dedicated to them and to preserving their work and legacy because a lot of the Haenyeo today are they're getting older in age, so they're either retiring or they're passing on, and there are no new Haenyeo as many taking their place.
That's the sad thing. We've mentioned that on the show. There's just not as many of the young generation who want to spend 7 hours in the cold water.
Right. It's really, really laborious work. It's really hard.
Yeah.
So the museum is located in Gujaup, which is on the east side of the island. It was founded back in 2006. It has 3 main exhibitions, which covers the Haenyeo's daily life, their actual work and work site, and the history of the Haenyeo.
Okie dokie. So we're going to split up our parts with the song breaks into those 3 parts. Nice.
Yeah.
So checking out the daily life.
Right. So we're going to head into the Haenyeo's daily life. What did it look like? So this exhibition, as soon as you go into the exhibition hall, it's the first one that you walk into. The first thing you see is a house. It's a traditional thatched roof house that is very specific to Jeju. And the director explained to me, and he was telling me all about the history behind this particular house that they had designed. And let's take a listen.
앞에 보시는 이 초가는 제주의 이제 전통 초가를 이제 재현을 한 겁니다. 이건 이제 저희 해녀방 박물관 근처에 평대리라고 하는 마을이 있는데 그 평대리에 이남숙 해녀가 살았던 집이에요. 그걸 이제 고스란히 일로 가져와서 전시를 하고 있습니다. 근데 이분은 13살 때 해녀 물질을 시작해요. 그런데 이분이 제주 사선 사건 때 남편을 잃죠. 그래서 어린 아이들 데리고 혼자서 키우고 그리고 공부까지 이제 가르쳤던 분이신데.
Right. So he was explaining to me that this particular house, is a replica of the home of Haenyeo Nam-suk, who passed away in 2008.
We're going to put that on the video screen
Right,
here.
yes, please.
Like a kind of humble abode, you could say.
So right now, if you're looking at photo 1, it's the exterior of the house. And the house isn't large. It's divided up into 3 rooms.
Yeah.
If we can take a look at the second picture picture number 2 is the inside of the middle room. So that's kind of, I guess, where what you can call like the common area.
Oh.
But it's where you do everything but sleep.
Okay, it's very humble, right? And this is a replica, not the actual house that they've transported there.
Yes.
But you can get a feel for, these Haenyeo, they're not living glamorous, glitzy lives.
Right, absolutely not. It is a replica of her house, but a lot of the stuff that you see, a lot of the items that you see inside the house are her personal belongings.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
that she donated after passing away.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we heard, if you didn't understand the audio, she was a Haenyeo for a very young age, from 13, but her husband passed away in that 4-3 incident we mentioned on our show together, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's terrible.
Yeah, she was a Haenyeo since she was 13 Korean age, so it's about 12 international age. She was married at the age of 22, had 2 daughters. Unfortunately, her husband did die during the April 3rd incident that we had talked about last week.
Yeah.
So she spent her entire life supporting her 2 daughters and making sure that they got an education and had a better life than what she thought that she had.
That's unbelievable. Well
Yeah.
done to her indeed.
I do want to play another image if we have that, Peter.
Yeah, we've got our third photo here.
Yeah. So that's image number 3. If you look at the picture, you can kind of see what a fishing village back in the day on Jeju would have looked like.
Ah, so the foreground is kind of the water and the boats and whatnot.
Yes, right. And you have that stone port, the traditional fishing boats that they used in Jeju. So the work of the Haenyeo was just started from daybreak and lasted all the way into the night. She was responsible not just for the sea harvest and for the mulje work, but she was also responsible for raising her children. She was responsible for coming back and feeding them and taking care of household chores.
Oh, wow.
And then she was expected to also farm the land.
As well as the husband, I assume.
Yeah, so the men traditionally they also helped farming the land, but a lot of them worked out on those boats that you see.
As fishermen rather than divers.
Right. The life of Jeju women was so different from women anywhere else in Korea because Jeju women were highly involved in economic activities.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, everything that they harvested and everything that they farmed, they sold.
Oh,
so
brilliant.
they made money.
So that's kind of still to this day a tradition that's remained, because a lot of the Haenyeo will go out and grab this from the sea and sell it on the shore
Right.
as soon as they get out of the water, kind of thing.
Yeah, which is the best. It's so fresh and tastes so good.
It does taste like the sea is in your mouth when you eat that. I wonder, if someone wants to be a Haenyeo, do they have to be Korean and residing in Jeju? I guess the latter part of that, it's a bit difficult to be a Haenyeo considering they are Jeju female divers if you're not living there. But
Yeah.
being Korean, I wonder, actually.
No, so that's not a prerequisite. There are Haenyeo schools.
Wow.
Yeah, that you could attend here. You can register and then go through the entire process to become an official Haenyeo.
Wow. Do you
But-
get like a qualification or something?
Yes, so you get kind of, I guess, you learn the tricks of the trade, right? But you can't officially become a Haenyeo unless you're accepted by the Haenyeo community, which has because they have their own bylaws and rules and traditions as well.
Oh, like
So-
a little guild.
Right, so you do have to live in Jeju. You have to live in the community and serve in the community for a certain number of time before they even consider you.
Okay, so we're going to move on to part 2, are we?
Yes. So I want to talk about the work site where they actually worked along the coast. So if you were to step into the Haenyeo's work site, maybe about 100 years ago, the first thing you would see is a circular stone wall. So in Jeju, we have a lot of stone walls. We
The
call
little
them
volcanic rock ones.
we call them patdam or tortam. Depending on its function, the name is different. But this particular stone wall is called a 불턱.
A 불턱.
불턱. Yeah.
Okay.
And it is an integral and very important part of the Haenyeo culture. And the director was telling me all about it. He described its function to me, and I want to play that audio for you if we can.
Okay.
불턱은 뭐 그런 이제 휴식의 공간이기도 하지만 궁극적인 목적은 이제 작업의 공간입니다. 그래서 물질을 하다가 해산물을 잡은 걸 가지고 다시 또 이제 올라와서 또 이제 분류 작업도 하고 또 정리 작업을 하는데 그런 작업의 공간이기도 해요. 그래서 작업을 하다가 보면은 어린 아이가 칭얼칭얼 울기도 하잖아요. 그래서 큰 아이는 무조건 애기 보기. 그래서 엄마가 바다에서 물질을 하는 동안 큰 아이는 자기 동생을 업고 이 불떡 주위에서 엄마를 기다리게 되죠. 힘들게 작업을 하다가 올라와서 온몸을 녹이면서 아기에게 젖을 물리기도 하는 그런 공간입니다.
Wow. So the director was saying how the 불떡 is actually multifunctional. It has many, many functions. It serves as a changing room.
Oh.
It serves as a resting area. Also the place where they hold religious ceremonies to pray to the goddess for a good harvest.
This isn't like a building, but a walled area?
Yes.
Oh.
I have a picture for you.
Okay.
For those who are streaming in.
Yes,
via
wow.
video. Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of cozy.
Yeah. Some are smaller, some are a lot bigger than this. But it's just like a circular stone wall.
Like almost like a little pit you're making.
Right. In the middle of it, if you can make it out, there is a fire pit. Yeah, that they light on fire during the cold winter months.
Not to necessarily cook something, but to keep them warm.
Sometimes they do cook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. When they get hungry, if they get hungry, then they'll cook some of their harvest there.
So I'm guessing the function of this wall, because it's not very tall, like if you're sitting down, it will come up to your head.
Right.
Is maybe more to like keep the wind at bay and things like this, and just a bit of shelter.
Right, shelter and a little bit of privacy while they're changing. So this particular replica that they have at the museum is one of the earlier 불떡s. So they gradually did make the stone walls taller and a little bit more sturdy. These days, you can see remnants of it if you go along the coast.
Oh, wow.
But the modern day Haenyeo actually have a full-on like rooms. They have buildings
like
dedicated.
actual changing rooms.
Yeah, and it's very well done. Apparently, I've never been in one, but apparently it's really nice.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is nice for history, but in this day and age, you wouldn't like to get changed crouching behind a small little 불떡, perhaps.
Yeah.
And so the guy mentioned as well, the director mentioned that the kids would maybe wait here for their mums as well.
Yeah, and so that one, when he mentioned that, really hit me in my heart and it hit that soft spot, as a mom, was that once the Haenyeo had children, the eldest was expected to watch the infant inside the 불떡 while mom was out working.
Like a baby pen.
Right. Yeah. And then when mom comes back to the 불떡, it served as the nursing room where she fed her babies.
It really did everything. It kind of may be nice to look at in a museum like this, but if you're actually doing it, maybe that was, I don't know, quite a harsh condition to raise kids in.
Absolutely. It's just the work of the Haenyeo is difficult, but they're fighting against the elements of Jeju, where we're known for its very strong winds. It's especially strong and harsh right along the coast. All that sea winds.
Certainly. I'm guessing it would have raised hardy children, if nothing else.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the girls in the 불떡, when would they actually go out with their mothers? When could you start being a Haenyeo? You mentioned that one earlier who passed away, whose house we saw a replica of, starting at the age of 12. That's pretty young.
That is pretty young. They start actually learning how to swim and the basic skills when they're about 6 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're put in the ocean at around that age, getting used to the water and floating and things like that. But then they actually start as an official Haenyeo at the age of 12.
That's like the cutoff point.
Right.
I see. We got a couple more photos to show you of the clothing now, right?
Yeah, so I really wanted to show you guys this because it kind of gives you, I feel like, a better understanding of how difficult the circumstances were in which they worked.
It's very basic, this clothing we're seeing on screen.
Right, it's just undergarments.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just cotton undergarments.
And that's what they wore, as in nothing on top of this?
Nothing on top of this. This actually, Haenyeo, all the way back, like hundreds of years ago, they swam naked in the nude.
Oh!
Yeah.
Well, I guess that is the most natural and maybe
Right.
aerodynamic. But
Right.
Yeah, it wouldn't fly today so much.
Yeah. But once, cotton clothing like this was invented, they started wearing their undergarments
Oh,
into
and
the ocean.
swimming in this as
Yeah,
well.
swimming in this. This is what they used to go in the water.
Oh my goodness, that's a bit tricky because nowadays you see them in their big wetsuits,
Mhm,
right?
their rubber suits, yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily like the high-tech latest thin wetsuits, but proper like old school diver ones. And sometimes they have the old school big goggles that cover
Yeah.
both eyes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Wow.
But back in this day, they wore just their underwear. They had no goggles.
Oh no.
Yeah, they had no headwear.
They would just like open their eyes in the water.
Right. Yeah, and just go after the colors is what they say.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And I think we've got image number 6 as well to show.
Image number 6 is the upgraded version of what we just saw.
Oh, this looks a little cooler.
Yeah, it's the material's a little bit thicker, a little bit more sturdy. Now they're starting to design and color their work clothes.
Yeah.
They finally have headwear. And one interesting thing that the director told me was that this headscarf that they're wearing is really long.
Okay.
So they call sharks here, the Haenyeo here calls sharks dolphins. It's the same word for dolphin in their language, in Jeju-o,
Okay.
the Jeju language.
Yeah.
But they have a saying where if they travel in herds, they're friendly. But if it's a lone dolphin, then you need to be fearful.
Oh.
Because
I'm
then it's a
getting
shark.
goosebumps.
Yeah. So what they would do was they would tie this headscarf around their ankle and make themselves look bigger than they are because it's really, really long. So to hopefully scare away sharks.
Oh, wow. I wonder if there are any records of like Haenyeo getting attacked. They must have been
Yes.
fearful of it for a reason, yeah?
Yes, there are records of Haenyeo dying by sharks. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Really scary, yeah.
Like in modern day Korea, I don't think that's a thing that's happened for many a year for even swimmers or anything like that. It's not something we'd look out for. But wow, back in the days, that actually occurred. Goodness gracious. It just makes it even more challenging, that profession, right?
Yeah, right.
I guess we shouldn't highlight that too much to try and recruit youngsters to do it. No sharks anymore. It's okay.
It's okay. It's safe. It's safe.
So we're going to get into the history of Haenyeo now.
Yes, so excited for this part. So let's get into it. So the first time we see information about Haenyeo, so written record of Haenyeo, is in the early 1600s.
Wow.
And director Boo, isn't that cool, his name? Director Boo. It's so appropriate for Halloween.
Yes.
Director Boo emphasizes that in the earliest literature, it describes the Haenyeo as organized and skilled workers.
Oh.
So that implies that they had been around for a lot longer than that. He says that for as long as there have been people on Jeju, there have been Haenyeo and Haenam.
Haenam is not a term we hear anymore these
Not
days,
anymore.
right? But
There
that's
are.
the guys.
Yeah, those. So Haenyeo, Nyo means girl, and Haenam, Nam means male.
Okay.
So Haenyeo and Haenam, their Haenams do exist.
Oh, even today?
Even today. So the sea harvesters, though, these Jeju sea harvesters were initially, way back in the day, the origins were both male and female.
Oh, so it wasn't even they were originally male. From the very beginning, it was just both.
Yes, yes. But the women did more of the safer, I guess you can say, work in shallower waters. It's more
Okay.
kind of picking off the rocks and things. And then the men did a lot of the diving because that was more laborious, but also more dangerous.
Sure.
And it takes a lot of effort, and you need to be really strong, actually, to pry off the abalone.
Yeah.
They really stick good onto those rocks.
That's one thing that I totally forgot about, right? It's not just getting down to the depths, it's them
Yeah.
prying off them, which are really designed to not be pried off, right?
Right, right. So if you remember in the picture that we saw before the break, there were these stone tools that they used to pry off shellfish and abalone.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. They still use similar tools today.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as Jeju came more and more under the power of the central government, meaning the king, heavier taxes were placed on the people, on Haenyeo, on the sea harvesters, and they were just huge amounts, large amounts of tributes became mandatory for them.
That makes it less lucrative.
Less lucrative and a lot of hard work, which eventually led to the mass exodus of men to the mainland, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
So that's why that happened.
And that left the women to take up the men's work, and they had to. They had no other choice but to start doing the diving.
So they filled that kind of void, and that's why it was a majority females.
Right. So historically, most women living along the coast on Jeju became Haenyeo,
Yeah.
which led to them becoming very, very highly organized and a really tight community because they had no one else to rely on for survival.
Sure.
There are many instances of Haenyeo dying at work.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it was just a whole structure. They had their own regulations. They had their own bylaws. There are 3 ranks of Haenyeo according to not just age and skill, which are kind of the obvious,
Yeah.
but virtue. They looked at your character, how
Wow.
wise you were. And the more virtue and character skill that you had, the higher ranking you were.
Before we run out of time, Angel,
Yeah.
we do have one more clip from
Yes,
the
we do.
director, right? What is he talking about this time?
He's talking about the contributions to education.
Oh, let's take a listen.
해녀들이 물질을 통해서 얻어들인 수익을 가지고 땅을 사고 그 땅 위에 학교를 짓고 그것을 교육청에 기부 체납을 해서 그 동네 자기의 자식들 그 후손들이 그 공부할 수 있는 터를 만들어준 거죠. 그러니까 해녀들은 태어남과 동시에 노동의 수단으로 사용을 하면서도 우리 자식, 우리 후손들한테만큼은 나 같은 일은 물려주지 않고 공부를 시켜서 더 좋은 삶을 만들어야겠다 하는 그런 생명에 대한 어떤 강한 의지, 생활에 대한 강한 의지 그런 것들이 있는 거죠.
Since schools and fishing villages were uncommon, communities of Haenyeo in the past would create these funds, is what he was talking about. And they collected their earnings to purchase land and then build schools on
Wow.
on that land. Yeah.
We've got a photo.
Yes, we do.
Looks like back in the day, black and white.
Right. And this school, this is the school in Onpyeong.
Wow.
They did build this school and then they donated. They donated the land and the school to the government.
Oh, that's amazingly
Yeah.
selfless, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just amazing, amazing.
And then their own kids could obviously benefit from education
right,
as well.
and kids in the entire community.
Fantastic.
What's Up in Jeju is supported by JDC, which is creating a free international city that resembles nature, embraces the future, and reaches the world.
Arirang Radio.